Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Superior Sisterhood, the self-care sessions. I'm Nicole Moria, Women's Empowerment Coach and the host of these sessions. And today, I'm really excited to introduce everybody to Dr. Carla Santin. Welcome, Carla.
Hi, Nicole. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk with you in a minute. If you haven't yet met Carla, Dr. Carla Santin, she's of Santin Chiropractic, which she'll tell us about in a minute. And she's a chiropractor. So let's get started there, Carla, if you want to tell us all a little bit more about yourself and your work.
Perfect. So I am a chiropractor. I graduated in 2006 from the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College in Toronto. My husband is originally from Thunder Bay, and we met in school, and we decided to make Thunder Bay our home. So we moved back right after graduation and started our business. We've been operating Santin Chiropractic for the last 13 years now. We see a variety of patients, right from newborns to elderly people. We say it's a family-oriented practice where we help people make and meet their health and wellness goals. So our motto is to help you discover but maintain good health. And we have a variety of techniques that we use just because every person is different, every body is different. So it just allows us to have multiple tools in the tool bag so that we can see people of all different ages, all different body types, and make sure that the care is what's proper and best suited for them.
Great. And I apologize if I mispronounced your last name. It's Santin.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Santin, yes.
Chiropractic, everyone. Awesome. And so just like I've started all the other interviews, I would really love to ask you about your personal experiences around self-care. And so kind of when did it enter the picture for you in your life, and how has it evolved?
Yeah, so I think for me, the biggest challenge with self-care really came when I started having kids. And that's probably a really common theme with a lot of women. But I have 3 children. I have a son who's almost 10, my daughter who turned 8, and a younger boy who's 5 now. And I think just like with everybody, it becomes more and more of a challenge to make the time to care for yourself when you're caring for so many other people in your life. So I myself had a major health crisis last year. I actually spent the good part of 3 weeks in the hospital with a heart problem. And it was something that, I've been healthy my whole life. I've exercised, taken care of myself, but I actually collapsed on the May long weekend last year. And I was having severe chest pains, hard time catching my breath. The pain went into my jaw, my arm. And this was all in front of my husband and my children. So they had to call the ambulance. So the fire department and the ambulance showed up, and we thought that I was having a heart attack, which was kind of a shock to everybody because I've never been overweight, never had high blood pressure. And even the ambulance paramedics were surprised, but treated it like that. Went in and was having ongoing bouts of chest pains for the good part of a week. And luckily, all of the testing that I had done turned out okay, but they really just couldn't figure out what was going on. So when push comes to shove, they diagnosed me with a vasospastic angina, which was really just the best diagnosis that they could come up with, explaining why the small arteries around my heart would contract without really any warning or really any reason why it would be happening, which would give me the symptoms of a heart attack. So it was a bit discouraging, I'm not going to lie, because I've always valued health. I've always preached good health with my patients and couldn't really understand why it was happening to me. So I had to go on medication. I still carry nitro in my purse to take if I have any episodes, but it was a real eye-opener for me, just how much my own self-care had gone by the wayside. So in hindsight, when I look at all of that, I think I really had contributed to my own health kind of unraveling, between the loss of sleep that you have when you have babies and children, the time that I wasn't putting into regular exercise or health care, I think it all caught up with me. So I've spent the good part of the last year, going through all the normal things that you do when you're recovering from a healthcare scare like that, right down to being sad, to being angry, and then making some steps to make some changes. So it's been a challenging year, right back with getting back to work, but also reevaluating what's important to me, making some changes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. There's a gift in your whole experience. Like you just said, it's reevaluating what's important to you and then
Yeah.
reflecting on how you could enhance your self-care. And so I didn't realize you had been going through all of that this year. So thank you for sharing as a cautionary tale in case women listening have been letting their self-care lapse. And maybe you're going to get into next sort of some ideas of how to get back on board when it comes to self-care strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did have, some good talks with my husband, just in terms of things that I could do to try to balance my schedule out a little bit better. I started working with a coach in my field, but he has been excellent in terms of helping me, prioritize where I want to put my time and energy. So I started working with that coach in the fall, and also doing some meditative exercises. So working on mindfulness, doing some regular breath work every day, just because I felt like I needed to center myself in the whirlwind of life sometimes. I've made some regular walking more of a priority for myself. And then also got back to doing some things that I really love to do, which when I really took a look at things, I said, I'm doing a lot of things for other people and forgetting what it was that really made me tick and what made me passionate about my day. So I grew up dancing, taught dance pretty much right until I had my kids. And then it kind of went away for me. So this past year, I went back to taking an adult tap class, which I just found really fun, just being around other people and getting back to doing something that I loved. There were people in the class that have never danced before. There were others like me that had danced throughout their whole lives, but we were just getting back to doing something that we like to do. So that was a big one for me as well.
And it's like, I love how all of the practices you've been using, it's like the whole spectrum. There's the difficult things that maybe you've had to work through, right through to the fun stuff, which is the tap dancing that you mentioned. And so
Yeah,
that's a good
absolutely.
point for people to keep in mind. It doesn't have to be all the activities that drain you or the activities that you tend to resist. It can be the fun activities that light you up as well. And together, all of those things will support you. And
For sure.
I'm curious if this comes up in your practice at all. Like, do you support patients at all in this area of self-care?
Absolutely. So I think one thing that I've always said is, I'm kind of guilty of being the person that is really good at giving the advice, but not necessarily taking it myself. I think a lot of people are guilty of that. So I really found myself, practice what you preach. And really seeing myself in a lot more of my patients this past year. So I have spent more time talking to them about goals and, let's say they come into me for a back problem, but I know it's a lot more than just their back pain that's brought them through the door. Usually it's something like, they can't bike or they can't run as normally as they would before. They'd hurt themselves. So we talk a little bit more about goal setting and what would they love to get back to doing if their back would allow them to do that, for instance. So we're doing a lot more of talking about the things that they need to do in terms of exercise, diet, things that are going to allow them to take a breath during their day, and refocus their energy on the things that are going to help them not only heal better, but function better and get back to doing the things that they love.
Yeah, and get what I was. Oh, I know that you're an excellent chiropractor before, but now having lived this experience, now that you can, continuously add on to the care that you provide your clients is so beautiful.
Yeah, it definitely helps you empathize a little bit more. And when you've been through a health scare, I think, people see that is a real person in front of me. That's not just my doctor. So I wasn't shy about sharing my story. I mean, I kind of had to be open about it because I was away from the practice so long. So people know what happened to me. And I think it allows them to maybe feel a little bit closer to me just as a person, and understand that I've been through something similar and I can understand what it feels like to be at the bottom and have to kind of dig your way back out again. And I think that that's a really important point too, is that sometimes it's easy to say, well, I'm going to do all of these things and be a little bit hard on yourself. And what I've had to do this year too is giving myself a little bit of forgiveness, because we're all human. We all fall off of the wagon, or, we lose track of what the goals are from time to time. So I can't say that every week looks perfect for me, but right now my goal is, to get out walking or moving or doing something that I like a little bit every day, but to give yourself a break when it doesn't happen. Because I think it's all too easy to say, well, I'm just going to forget that because it's not working out for me, as opposed to making baby steps, but also, giving yourself a break when it doesn't happen the exact way that you had planned it to in the first place.
Absolutely. Can't agree more. Now you started to get into my last question here that I have for you, and that is, within your clients or within yourself, is there anything that you notice that sort of underlies, when people come to you and you know that they need self-care, but what it is that's going underneath that? And I feel like you started to talk about it when you say they come in with symptoms like they can't run or bicycle, but really it's about other things. So just curious, any additional thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the body is a miraculous thing, and it will always manifest emotional stuff that we're carrying, our emotional baggage. It'll always manifest that physically somehow. So generally speaking, when we really dig, a woman who's having headaches is generally experiencing those as a symptom of something else. So I'll tell them, this is kind of like the check engine light coming on in your car. It's telling you that there's a problem, but we really have to dig to see what that problem is. And usually it's that, you can't just say that one particular event causes an injury. Sure, there's cases you break a bone or you twist your ankle, but generally speaking, we are a product of our past. So it's an accumulation of things that have happened to us, or things that we're not doing well, that catch up with us over time. So sometimes I think just being aware that our body is giving us a warning sign that something's happening, and acting on it sooner rather than later is always the way to go. What I find is, a lot of times people will come in and it's, they're seeing me kind of as a last resort, but they've known deep down that there's something that's off for quite a while, because it's very rare that someone will say to me, oh, well, my back just started hurting me last week. It's usually not the case. The sooner we act, the better. And often the easier it is to resolve and to kind of get over the hump and start functioning better again if you act sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and that simple act of listening to your body and noticing in advance, like you say, right when it's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Way to go.
An interesting thing happened to me, and I'll just share one last story with you. But the cardiologist that was taking care of me, he said to me, the best doctors listen to their patients. And the reason that they do that is because the patient will always tell you what's wrong with them. You just have to be willing to listen, because deep down, we all know what the problem is, right? Your body will tell you. And if you really listen, you'll always know. So it's just a matter of being with the right practitioner who's actually going to listen to you and then allow you to do the things that you need to do and help you do those things to get the best results.
Sweet. That's a great takeaway right there. In addition to all of the other great tips that you've shared. So before we wrap up, Carla, I'm wondering if you have any final thoughts, and also if you can tell everyone how we can connect further with you.
Well, awesome. I would be happy to connect with people. If you have any other questions, you can always reach me both through our Facebook page, Santin Chiropractic, or on our web at www.santinchiropractic.com. I practice alongside my husband, so often people will say, well, I think of you for my husband, but he hesitates coming to a female practitioner. And that's one of the best things about working side by side with him, is that we kind of have someone for everyone. And we've always, over the years, told people, if you have any concerns or if you're anxious about seeing a chiropractor, don't feel like we're going to lay our hands on you right away. So it's always a matter of making sure that you're comfortable with the person that you're meeting with, comfortable with the process. So we do welcome people in the office for consultations. It doesn't mean that you're committed to any care whatsoever.
Absolutely. And like you were saying earlier, not even necessarily waiting until you have a major problem going on with your body. I'm sure that you see clients who are already well and they're enhancing their wellness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some people do choose just to come in and have a wellness checkup in order to maintain the health that they have. It's very similar to why you would go to a dentist for regular cleanings, right? So we want to make sure that we're keeping you healthy and functioning at your best.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Carla. The time went by so fast. And I'll be sure to share your link so that folks can reach out and connect with you. And I just want to thank you for being part of our Superior Sisterhood here and sharing your professional and your personal experiences, especially over the past year.
Thanks for including me, Nicole.
Yeah, my pleasure. And on behalf of Carla and myself, we just want to thank all of you for watching today and encourage you to get out there and take good care of you. Bye for now.